welcome to Circles in the Woods Cups Full Moon Celebration for June of 2020. We had 90% of this recorded before things got really crazy out in the world and before everything happened with George Floyd. So we're going to still bring you the ritual as we recorded it. It's very lighthearted. It's intended to give you a break from everything that's going on. But we also felt that we needed to, in some way, address what's happening in the world right now. As pagans and as witches, as energy workers, we have an opportunity to do something. If you can act, then act in the way that your conscience dictates. What we're asking you to do tonight is join us in sending out energy for unity and for peace and for healing in our community and throughout the world. So I'll light a candle with that intent now. So please take a moment and send that intent forth. Thank you. Everyone stay safe. Everyone stay healthy. And we hope to see you again very soon. Blessed be. And with our ancestors' blessing, we cleanse this space and make it ready for our ritual. So mote it be. A virtual saging to all of those who join us this evening. Hello. Good evening. My name is Jamie Hendricks.
I am Chris Hendricks.
I'm treasurer of CUPS, Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans.
I am Wart Weaver of Cups.
And we are coming to you from our backyard again. So this is the third month in a row of our virtual full moon celebrations from the UU. Love bugs. So tonight we find ourselves out in nature, enjoying beautiful weather.
It's hot.
It's very hot. I'm not gonna lie. It's hot. It's Florida hot. But it is what it is. It's better than snow. So we're happy. So tonight we're going to bring you a ritual honoring midsummer and honoring the fairies. And we hope you enjoy it. Blessed be thou, creature of air, pure essence of the God. I consecrate this incense to thy divine spirit. Blessed be thou, creature of fire, pure essence of the God. I consecrate this flame to thy divine spirit.
Blessed be thou creature of water, pure essence of the goddess. I hereby consecrate this water to thy divine spirit. Blessed be thou creature of earth, pure essence of the goddess. I hereby consecrate this salt to thy divine spirit.
Salt and water, inner and outer, body and soul be cleansed. I cast out all that is harmful, and take in all that is good and healing. By the powers of life, death, and rebirth, so mote it be.
3.
By holy flame of heart's desire, the circle is cast in spirit's fire. The worlds are parted, time web unspun, until our work within is done. So mote it be.
Please tend to the east. We call to the east. May fairies' wings carry the winds of change. May butterflies teach us to dance in the warm breeze. We bid thee hail and welcome. Hail and welcome. We call to the south. May magic bonfires burn bright in these dark times. May the sparks of fireflies bring light to long summer nights. We bid thee hail and welcome. Hail and welcome. We call to the west. May summer showers cleanse our souls, washing away all tears. May our love be as abundant as raindrops flowing to the sea. We bid thee hail and welcome. Hail and welcome. And we call to the north. May the strong earth ground us as the world shifts around us. May the soft summer grass tickle our toes on the path to better days ahead. We bid thee hail and welcome. Hail and welcome.
Green Man, God of the forest and trees, we invite you to join our ritual and merriment this night. Come and join our rite. We bid you hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome. Mother Gaia, goddess of the earth and woods, we invite you to join our ritual and merriment this night. Come, join our rite. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
So tonight's work is going to be about fairies. And anybody who knows me knows that this is not my area of expertise. No, not my area of expertise. This would be something that I would chase the fairies into the house and then like let the cats chase them. Probably not proper fairy etiquette coming in. So, what we're going to do tonight, no, good thing to start out with. What we're going to do tonight is we're going to talk about how to tell if you have fairies nearby. We're going to do some fun fairy facts, and we have a really cool story that somebody sent in about fairies. So, we'll talk about all of that fun stuff. So that's where we're heading. So first, how to tell if fairies are nearby. You might hear soft chiming bells. You might see mushroom circles on the ground, which are also known as fairy rings. I've seen those before. Like, especially after a lot of rain, we get those in the front yard. Dog used to eat them, which was probably not good. You might hear strange haunting or jovial music or chilling sounds or chilling music. It's starting to sound like something out of The Shining. It's a little disturbing. I don't know if I heard jovial laughing or shining or music or something like that coming from the woods, I'd be a little concerned. You might have a strong scent of apples, grass, wild violets, or other flowers nearby. Large patches of clover, especially four-leaf clovers. Mysterious giggling sounds coming out of nowhere. Again, things to question your sanity. Fun times. If you are followed by crows or ravens, you might have fairies. Spheres of light beeping around you, blinking around you. I suppose it would be beeping. If you have little deviations of the air, what would a deviation of the air be?
Turbulence.
Turbulence? The fairy wing turbulence. Animals around you act a little weird.
They always do.
I was going to say, our cats are always strange. I don't think that would be a good indicator for us. Milk and beer go bad and candies are missing.
That just means I'm around.
I was going to say, that would just be a man or a child in the room. Well, maybe not the beer part. A sense of warmth on your skin. I think this was written for colder climates.
Possibly.
Florida. Flowers and other plants sprout from bizarre places. Again, we live in Florida. I think this was written for colder climates. Plants sprout from everywhere down here. If you see eyes in the woods, I'm back to The Shining again. Yeah, again, I'm back to The Shining. It's, Children of the Corn or something. Very concerned. So those are signs that you might have fairies around. I was always told too that if your bright shiny objects go missing, you might have fairies. So watch out for bright shiny objects going missing. They like those. Fun fairy facts. Fairy wings are not just for flying. They use their wings to say hello to each other and communicate, much like the bumblebee. They also taste the air with their wings. The size and shape of their wings marks how important they are in fairy society. They can also be a really comfy pillow for taking a fairy nap. I guess
That works.
utilitarian purpose, dual purpose. Yeah. You can spell fairy any way you want, which is a major bonus for me teaching math. I'm a horrible speller, so I'm all for this one. It's F-A-I-R-Y. F-A-E-R-I-E, F-A-E-R-Y, or F-A-I-R-Y are all acceptable. Kind of bonus.
What's the first one?
Oh, yes, you are correct. Proofreading is also not my strong point. I teach math. Not all fairies are beautiful. Fun fact number 3. Some are very scary or silly looking. This is especially true in some of the Native American and Celtic folklore. Some are shapeshifters and choose to look ugly or old. Not all fairies are tiny. Some people say they've seen fairies the size of people or even giants. Fairies speak in the language of gifts. Okay, so what do fairies like? What can you give fairies to make them happy and to make them come and help you? They do help you with certain things from what I've read. They love to work in your garden. And a very loud moo behind us as the cows are moving through the pasture. So apparently the cows agree that the fairies like to work in the gardens. So if you want them to come and work in your garden, you can leave gifts out for them. They love anything sparkly and shiny.
So we put some sparkly, shiny things on the altar. We have some beautiful crystals. We have a sparkly, smoky quartz and some other clear quartz and some seraphinite and a beautiful piece of amethyst. So anything little sparkly gifts, but they like gifts. They like things that you can leave for them and just let them have. So even little glass beads or baubles or things like that, just leave them out for them overnight. It's another good way if you give them their own little sparkly shiny things, then they'll leave your sparkly shiny things alone. And, you know, like your wedding ring or your favorite pair of earrings or something like that. Crystals. They love crystals. Again, from what I've read, they like quartz, moonstone, star, sapphire. Like those are their favorites. But really anything sparkly and crystally is good. Herbs. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is kind of a long list, guys. Bear with me here. We've got ginger, woodruff, which is also called like master of the wood. Took me a while to find that correlation. Roses, orchids, vervain, hawthorn berries, honeysuckle. But if you're giving them honeysuckle, you want to make sure that you leave the best blooms on the vine as an offering to the fairies. We have honeysuckle, I believe, honeysuckle or jasmine. I think it's honeysuckle that's planted right outside the church on the bushes that lead between the two domes, between the small dome and the large dome. So that's kind of awesome. They love elderberry wine, and they like milkweed or poppies. You can put milkweed and poppies in a dream pillow, and that will give you dreams of the fairies. They like primrose. Plant that in your garden or hang it by your front door, but don't let it die, because if you let it die, then it's going to offend the fairies. So in other words, I shouldn't plant it, because I can't even keep aloe cactus alive. So, yeah, very bad idea. Thyme, they love thyme. Sprinkle it on your windowsills to invite the fae into your home, or carry it with you to protect you from fairy mischief. They like the wood rowan or mountain ash, which is the same thing. It keeps balance and peace between humans and fairies. I don't think that actually grows in Florida, but I could be wrong, but I don't think that actually grows down here. Some other things you can do to give them gifts is to decorate your altar with oak and natural nuts like acorns, buckeyes, or walnuts. We did not do that because you have a horrible nut allergy, and so, you know, that whole thing of like, yeah, not having to hit you with an EpiPen and take you to the emergency room, that was just going to kind of throw off our ritual tonight. Another gift that's awesome for them that they love is milk and honey and apples. And the apples, they like it if you cut it like the wrong way, like horizontally. And then you open it up and you can see like the star in the middle. If you've never done that, it's really cool. So instead of cutting it like top to bottom, you cut it left to right. It's kind of a cool trick. They also like figs or anything sweet, and you just leave those kind of foods like overnight outside for them, and give that to them. Okay, so there's like some major cow action going on behind us.
Probably because of the traffic.
Yeah. So, fun times.
The magic of outdoor ritual.
Magic of outdoor ritual, yes. There's never anything going on in the woods behind us, and all of a sudden there's like cows and craziness. Other fun fairy facts. They tend not to trust you until you give them something. And they really don't like iron. So like tonight when we did the saging, we usually do saging in a cauldron. We didn't use a cauldron, we used a shell. And the reason they don't like iron is because they said it tastes icky and makes them feel sick. So you also notice like when we're, yeah, so anyway. So we don't have much metal on the altar. We try to keep the metal from them. When we think of fairies, or like when we talk about fairies, most of the time we think of like the Irish and the Celtic fairies. That's where we're used to hearing about them. But that's not the only culture that has fairy legends. The Native Americans actually have a lot of fairy legends. The I'm going to butcher this word, Eskasoni people in Canada have a lot of fairy legends. The Choctaw, the Shoshone, the Crow, the Cherokee, and the Hawaiians all have quite a few legends of the fairies, but they don't call them fairies. What they call them is little people. So they kind of group them in, this little people category groups in fairies and elves and brownies and all those different mythological small creatures into one category.
Sure, to be viewers.
No, I'm good standing. Okay. So I'm going to read you eventually here a legend from the Blackfeet people. But before I do that, I'm going to totally break ritual etiquette and ask you for my phone.
You didn't see this.
No. So we asked people to send us stories of fairy encounters that they had. And we had one, somebody sent us one, and it was through Facebook. And I'm completely technologically inept and could not figure out how to copy the text out of this Facebook comment to something I could print. So therefore, I have to read it off my phone and break ritual etiquette of not having electronics in sacred space. So.
I'm going to walk off camera and check to make sure it's still recording. Here.
Okay. We need to edit that out.
Edit what out? I
Edit
don't know
that out.
what
That's
you're
what we
talking
talked
about.
about. It's all good.
Nope.
Okay. So Mary Sabine sent this in. And I apologize if I mispronounced your name. So here's her experience with fairies. I was sitting on my back porch when I lived out in the woods, saging crystals for a full moon charge. I kept hearing something fluttering nearby. I turned and looked, and there was a small yellow fairy with luminous yellow wings zipping around my back door window. Like she or he wanted to go in. I was dumbfounded. I sat for a few minutes watching, and just as suddenly as she or he appeared, she or he slipped off into the woods. What a wonderful experience. So, thank you, Mary. That's awesome. Love it. Several of you also sent us pictures, and you'll be seeing those in a little bit. Very excited about that. So, and of course, she was doing exactly what somebody would be doing when they observe fairies. They were doing like a magical routine or a magical act. They drew the fairies. It's really cool. Okay. So, I've learned like so much about fairies just by doing this ritual. It's crazy.
You starting to like them a little bit?
Yeah. I'm OCD, so like you move something in my house. But you move something in my house and I can't find it. I have a conniption fit, so that's why fairies and I didn't really get along. But I'm starting to like them. They're growing on me. Yeah. So, so this is from the I have to remember how to say this, hang on. I looked at the pronunciation. The Piikani tribe. And they were absorbed into the Blackfeet Nation. But it's originally the Piikani tribe.
It's like picante, but without the T.
Exactly. That's it, yeah. That's a good way to remember it. Okay. It's a little long, but it's a really cool legend. Many years ago, the Piikani were making the plains their domain. During the mid-1700s, this incident took place, and the result was the formation of what's called the Crazy Dog Society of the Piikani. This legend has been passed down through many generations. The Piikani were going on a war raid to the east. Many warriors had prepared for a long time to go on the war raid. One of the warrior chiefs had a son that was about 10 years old, and he wanted to go on the raid with the other warriors more than anything. The young man had an uncle that was always ridiculing and teasing him. The uncle had a real good laugh when the young man told him that he wanted to go on the raid. The warriors departed before the sun lit in the east. It was when the moon cast no shadows and only sound guided your moves in the dark. The trail was already cold when the young man decided to follow. He figured that when he caught up to the warriors, they would be too far along to send him back to camp, and he would be allowed to stay with them. The sun had climbed about halfway to the center, and the wind had changed direction to the north when the young man caught up to the warriors. The overjoyed young man let his presence be known by giving a loud war cry, and the sound of the coyote welcoming the moon. The young man's war chief father was very concerned and told his brother, "I will give the responsibility to make sure that my young son is returned to camp to you." The young man's uncle was very upset with having to escort his nephew back to the camp and possibly miss the battle. This was one that he had planned to gain much prestige and bring back many scalps, possibly gaining a chieftainship. The uncle told the young man that he was going to bring him halfway back and that he was going to return then to the camp by himself. The little boy was told by his uncle that if he did not return to camp and he had to be escorted again, that the uncle was going to kill him and throw him into the coulee for the coyotes to eat. The young man waited for his uncle to get out of sight, and he began to follow again. The uncle was traveling at a very fast pace, and as he was going over the ridge, he looked back and saw the young man following him. Very angry, the uncle hid himself behind a large rock, and as the young man passed, he hit the boy with his war club many times. The young man was thrown into the coulee and considered to be dead. The uncle continued on, and upon reaching the warriors, he told his brother that he had returned his nephew to the camp. The sun cast a dark red glow on the rim of the coulee as the young man listened to the yipping of the coyotes. The young man remembered his encounters with the little people when he was about 3 snows, and how they always had some coyotes with them. The moans of the young man could be heard down the coulee. The hungry coyotes were anxious for their meal and rushed down the coulee. As they approached the young man, he lifted his head and told them, "I am little one that used to feed you and play with you many snows ago at my camp near the mountains." The leader of the coyotes stopped and looked at the young man and remembered his kindness to the coyote cousins. The old man coyote sang a song, and when he finished, he turned into a little man about 2 feet from the ground. He turned to the rest of the pack and told them, "I will doctor this young man and make him well. We will find out what happened to him." While the old man coyote was doctoring the young man, the rest of the pack turned into little people and began to sing. After 4 songs, the young man sat up and was healed of his wounds and injuries. He told the little people about how badly he had wanted to go on the war party and how his uncle had tried to kill him. The little people felt very sorry for the young man and told him that they would help him get his wish. The old man coyote told the young man, "When I finish singing my song, I want you to begin to howl and sound like a coyote." As the young man started to howl and make coyote sounds, he turned into a coyote. We will make good time as coyotes and will be able to catch up with the warriors sooner. While they were running, the old man coyote told the young man the plan that he made for the battle. The little people, disguised as coyotes, came over the ridge just as the enemy, who had the Piikani completely surrounded and outnumbered 10 to 1, began to make their charge. The warrior chief of the Piikani began to sing and said to the other warriors, "Sing your songs and prepare for death as a warrior." The coyotes suddenly turned into little people, and with their little spears and arrows started to stick the horses in the stomach and knocking the enemy off of their horses and killing them as they fell off. The warrior chief of the Piikani watched as he saw the enemy falling off of their horses and laying on the ground, bleeding and dying. Only a few of the enemy made it to the Piikani, and they were killed. The warriors ran among the enemy and collected their prizes and took scalps. The little people turned back into coyotes and retreated to the top of the ridge and watched as the warriors took their scalps and acted like they had done the fighting. The young man's uncle was already boasting about how many scalps he had earned. The warriors returned to camp, singing their songs of praise and telling of their triumph over the enemy. The war raid had been a very significant victory for the Piikani. The head chief of the Piikani called for a gathering and victory celebration. He invited all of the society chiefs and warrior chiefs to join him in giving praise to the warriors that had just won a very significant battle. The head warrior chief told the gathering, I don't know how we won the battle with the situation that we were in. He told of the way they were so badly outnumbered and totally surrounded when the enemy started to drop from their horses and lay bleeding and dying on the ground. The young man's uncle stood up and told the gathering that he was responsible for the victory because of his strong medicine, and the enemy just dropped over dead. He suggested he should be the new warrior chief. This was the time when the young man decided to tell the gathering the truth about how the Picani won the victory. The chief of the little people, the young man, and the rest of the little people were at the edge of the camp watching the gathering and celebration. They were still coyotes at this time. The chief of the little people told the young man, "Tell them the story, and if you need some help, just sing a song." The young man turned back into a little boy, and as he walked to the center of the gathering, the young man's father, the warrior chief, was very happy to see his son and greeted him with much happiness because he worried about his son getting harmed by the enemy. The warrior chief turned to his brother and thanked him for returning his son to camp and keeping him safe. The young man told his father, "I am no longer a young boy. I am a warrior and a member of the little people that saved all of you during the battle." The young man's uncle started laughing and making fun of the young man and calling him a liar and a fool. The young man told the gathering what his uncle had done to him and how he was lying about using his medicine to win victory. Again, the uncle laughed and made fun of the young man. The head chief of the Picani stood up and told the gathering, "This young man has made a very strong statement, and I'm going to let him prove what he says is the truth." The young man took the story about what happened to him and how the little people had helped him and how they had killed the enemy from the ground. When the young man finished his story, the gathering was trying to imagine how such a story could be the truth. The young man started to sing a song, and as he was singing, the coyotes moved toward the center of the gathering and joined him in his song. The coyotes began to turn back into little people. The chief of the little people told the gathering about the bravery that the young man had shown and that the story that he had told was the truth. The chief of the little people told of how the young man had tied himself to a bush to ensure that he couldn't leave until the battle was all over. The chief of the little people said that he went and cut the bush and proclaimed that battle over, and the victory won, and the final retreat of the little people back to the ridge as coyotes again. The young man stood before the chief of the little people and was proclaimed a warrior chief of little people. The head chief of the Picani stood up and proclaimed the young man as the head chief of all warriors and a place of prestige among the Picani. The little people were invited to join in the celebration and dance. They started to sing their songs and dance as they did, began to turn back into coyotes, brushing against each other and dancing in a bunch. The chief of the little people told the gathering, "I will give a ceremony to you that will help you heal your sick and protect your people." The chief of the Picani told the gathering, These are the crazy dogs." The Crazy Dog Society is still a very active and important society among the black people today, and this is the legend of how coyote medicine came to be. It's a long story.
Yeah.
So that was the story. We just finished the story of where coyote medicine came from, which is a legend regarding little people from the Blackfeet tribe, specifically the Picani.
Now we have a story of Tam Lin, who is another little person. But this story, I'd like to invite somebody to help tell it. Her name is S.J. Tucker. You might know her because she plays a lot of pagan music, pagan folk music particularly, kind of folk rock. It's nice. I like it. She's been to the church a few times. She's graciously allowed us to use her song from Tricky Pixie, which is one of her bands, called Tam Lin.
And Tam Lin is an ancient Celtic Irish folk tale about a mortal who was captured by the fairy queen, and seduced, coerced, drafted, I'm not sure what the proper word there is, forced into service. And he kind of rules the roost. He rules the harvest, or rules the forest. And the song is about a woman named Janet who goes into the forest, picks a rose, and basically falls head over heels in love with Tam Lin and is seduced by him. And we'll kind of let SJ tell the rest of the tale.
Before we start the music, I would like to point you out to the little doobly-doo below the video. That is where we will have links to SJ Tucker and her music and where you can find more.
Yes, because she has very graciously allowed us to use this in our ritual this evening and given us permission, which is very, very sweet of her. So, enjoy. It is a little long, so if you don't have something prepared for Wine and Loaf, it might be fun that while the music's playing, go grab yourself something to eat and drink, and when we come back, we'll have Wine and Loaf.
I forbid ye maidens all who let fly your lovely hair to go down to Carter Hall, for young Tam Lin is there. I forbid ye maidens all who let fly your lovely hair to go down to Carter Hall, for young Tam Lin is there. Janet dyed her kirtle green above her knee and not below, and she's gone to Carter Hall just as fast as she can go. She's come to the roses growing wild. She's pulled a single one when a wild young man appears and cries, "Oh, lady, let alone."
How dare you pull my roses out? How dare you break my tree? How dare you run in these green woods without asking leave of me?
Says Janet, bear, this wood's my own. My father gave it me, and I can pluck myself a rose without asking leave of thee. Bold as brass he takes her hand, color rises to her skin. She looks the young man in the eye and knows him now for young Tam Lin. All who let fly your lovely hair to go down to Carter Hall, for young Tam Lin is there. Janet holds her petticoats well above her dirty knee, and she's gone to her father's hall just as fast as she can hie. All the ladies of the court at their plate and red as rose, except for Janet fainting fast. Green as growing grass she goes. Out then speaks her father dear, doting, caring, meek and mild. Janet, darling daughter mine, I fear you go with child. Father, if I be with child, be sure myself shall bear the blame. There's not a knight within your hall shall get the baby's name. Father, if I be with child, 'twill prove a wondrous birth. For well I swear it's not the gate of any mortal man on earth. Maidens all who let fly your lovely hair to go down to Carter Hall, for young Tam Lin is there. Janet's dyed her kirtle green when near 9 months are gone, and she's away to Carter Hall to speak with young Tam Lin, but young Tam Lin will not be found. And Janet's in despair, to the forest floor she falls, and swift her lover catches her. Janet asks Tam Lin, my love, why is it in these woods you hide?
once, alas, when I was but a child, my lordly sire was a skillful man, and hunting he loved well, but I was prey for the fairy queen. When from my horse I fell, ever since in yon green hill, with the queen I'm bound to dwell, I'd never tire of living there, for the land of fairy does me well. But at the end of 7 years, the queen doth pay a tithe to her, eyes so fair and full of flesh, and fear 'twill be my sire.
Ye maidens all, who let fly your lovely hair, to go down to Carter, for young Tam Lin is there. Tonight's the night of Halloween, and the fairy court will ride, and she that would her true love win, at Miles Cross must bide. But how shall I thee ken, Tam Lin? Or how shall I thee know among a troop of fairy knights, the like I never saw?
First let pass the horses black, and then let pass the brown. Run ye to the milk-white steed, and pull that rider down. They will change me in your arms into a deadly adder, but hold me fast and fear me not, I am the baby's father. They will change me in your arms into a bear or lion bold, but hold me fast and fear me not, I am the father of your child. At last they'll change me in your arms into a naked night, then cast your mantle over me and keep me out of sight.
Gloomy was the night, and eerie was the way, as Janet in her mantle green 2 miles Cross did high, the heavens dressed in baleful black, and all was silent as the grave. But Janet waited in the dark, her own true love to save. Betwixt the hour of 12 and 1, the north wind blew and tore and rent. She heard the elfin bridles ring upon the wind where'er it went. Janet stood with mind unmoved, the gloomy heat upon, and louder, louder rang the bells as the fairy court came riding on, and first rode by the night black steeds, and then went by the brown. Then up she ran to the charge of pain, and pulled her lover down. They changed him in her arms to all the beasts and flames and hateful things, but she did all that her lover bade, and young Tam Lin she won. Up and spoke the fairy queen, an angry queen was she. Woe betide the wretch whose tale the best knight of our company. Had I but known Tam Lin, she said, what defeat this night I'd see. I'd have stolen both thine eyes and changed thee fast into a tree. Had I but known Tam Lin, she said, before we left this night to roam, I'd have et thy heart of flesh and left thee with a heart of stone. I forbid ye maidens all, who let fly your lovely hair, to
Gaia, great lady, we ask that you bless this drink.
Oh, great horned one, great Lord, we ask that you bless this cracker.
Cracker, Ethan. So let it be.
So let it be. May you never hunger.
May you never thirst. Accept this gift. May it please you. You should offer to the fairies. Tree. Let's go see the tree. We're going to go see the tree and offer to the fairies. We'll be back in a second. May you never thirst.
May you never thirst. May you never thirst.
Thank you. There.
May you never hunger.
May you never hunger. Ooh. You want to put those in there? May you never hunger.
May you never hunger.
Thou shalt not litter. And we say to everyone tonight, may you never thirst,
May you never hunger.
and may you never need. So let it be. Mother Gaia, goddess of the earth and woods, we thank you for joining our fun tonight and lending energy to our rite. Stay if you will, go if you must. We bid you hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell. Farewell.
No.
Maybe.
Maybe. She doesn't want to go. She wants to hang around. Hey, all right.
Green Man, God of the forest and trees, we thank you for joining our fun tonight and lending energy to our rite. Stay if you will, go if you must. We bid you hail and farewell.
Hail and farewell.
Please attend to the north. We thank the north for its soft summer grass that tickled our feet and guided our path. We bid thee hail and farewell. Hail and farewell. We thank the west for the raindrops that brought love and cleansing. We bid thee hail and farewell. Hail and farewell. We thank the south for the fireflies' glow that lit our path. We bid thee hail and farewell. Hail and farewell. And we thank the east for fairies that taught us how to float on the breeze. We bid thee hail and farewell. Hail and farewell.
Three.
By holy flame of candle fire, this ritual ends at our desire. The circle is open but unbroken, all things as they were with my words spoken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.
Bugs, constantly relighting candles, interruptions from cows.
Cows.
This is why we're inside normally.
This is. Oh, it's a donkey. And the donkey. It became a donkey. Yeah. It's a ritual.
That's not a donkey, that's just Dave.
Yeah. That's just a neighbor. He's fine. He's good. This is outdoor ritual, people. You constantly relight candles and it's spoiler, there's bugs.